Election interference has been a giant conversation piece here in Canada. Where the media has been dropping the ball is, where has it actually been occurring? Not so much at the general election level, but in internal party races. Now, as the Liberals are moving forward into their own leadership race, people are wondering who's going to be voting. Ladies and gents, welcome back. A certain amount of cynicism has been coming over the populace as late with this idea of going into a party electoral process when everyone knows that an election should just be occurring right as we speak. We've prorogued Parliament. Well, we haven't. The Prime Minister of Canada prorogued Parliament so that the government can have, or so the party can have their own political race to find out who's going to replace Trudeau. Now, he made this announcement last week, and I've played this clip, but I'll play it again.
I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process.
Yeah, and that can't happen soon enough because we won't have a general election, at least until this occurs, after Justin Trudeau resigns. He intends to resign. He has not yet resigned, but he will once the Liberal Party picks a new leader. For all intents and purposes, who cares if they do or not because of the polling? But hey, let's get into this. Who can vote? This is the big question. Who can vote in these party political elections? We all know what the rules are for general elections. You have to be a Canadian citizen. You have to be registered to vote. You have to go to the polling station where you've registered. No, this isn't how this works on the party level. And this is what opens up the door to all kinds of fraudulent activity, and why we're having, interference inquiries into what's been going on within the Liberal Party. Of course, the accusations being that there are 11 MPs that are completely bought off by foreign governments, and well, they brought in foreigners to come in and vote in their elections. And who opened the door to that? Well, the Liberals did. That's right. Who can vote? Per the Constitution, anyone who registers as a Liberal at least 41 days before the leadership election can vote in the contest. The Liberal Party bills itself as the most open movement in Canada. Anyone aged 14 and older with a Canadian mailing address can register to join the party free of charge. Does it say anything about Canadian citizenship? No, that's right. And this is where a lot of the contention came in, when international students were bussed in to bring in particular candidates and override, the constituency of particular ridings in Canada to get that, CCP, the Communist Party friendly candidate into certain ridings, and other governments have been doing the same thing. And I've actually encouraged a lot of Canadians to engage in this level of politics, because this is where the real elections are. The general election is always the choice between who was chosen for one side and who was chosen for the other. If you're not going to be involved in choosing who's going to be the candidate, well, you don't have much of a say at the end of the process. But as Canadians, you can also register to vote if you're a Canadian living abroad who are eligible to vote in federal elections. So you only have to be eligible to vote in federal elections if you don't live within Canada, as it states here. Trudeau defended the low barriers to party registration in recent testimony to a committee investigating foreign interference in Canada's democratic process. Expanding the pool is also a way to engage future voters, people who aren't yet citizens, people who aren't old enough to vote, those too young to vote, who are not yet Canadian citizens. Trudeau said in October, it's not even parody. This isn't parody. This is the National Post. This is what they're reporting on. These are the words of the Prime Minister himself. Now, people are taking this to the test. If there's a rule, test that rule and see how it works. Here's Alex Brown saying, I gave the address for the Chinese consulate in Ottawa, and just like that, Xi Jinping was signed up to vote in the liberal leadership race. This is too easy, even by low standards of repeated traitors to Canada. It's crazy. Give it a whirl, break it, so they have to fix it. And this is here you go. Xi Jinping, President Xi at Gmail. It should have been Gmail. That would have been funnier. Some Chinese knockoff for Google. Yeah, and there's the address for the Chinese embassy, and that's the reality of the situation. Now, the Liberal Party, they have their website here, which is still very Trudeau centric, even though he's made his intention to step down, achieve Trudeau nominations, all of that. But Andy Lee pointing out and on X saying the Liberal Party of Canada, under immense pressure, has changed their membership rules. Check it out. Look, you have to be at least 14. They haven't changed that. Support the purposes of the Canadian Party, of the Liberal Party. You have to be ideologically aligned with them. I don't know how they check for that when doing an election in their own internal party politics, but you have to be a Canadian citizen, have status under the Indian Act, or be a permanent resident of Canada. Okay, well, they've opened it a little bit more, so they've closed it down a bit, but it's still, if you're a permanent resident, you don't have the choice in a general election in Canada, but you can vote in the party politics. And that's across the board, by the way. That goes across all the parties. Maybe not the 14 years old thing, but definitely you don't have to be a citizen. That is something of note. You cannot be a member of any other federal party in Canada, and while registered as a Liberal, you do not publicly declare intention to run for as a candidate for any other party. These are the rules that they have. Now, CTV reporting that the Liberals will be removing fraudulent members, as some registered their pets to vote. This is you can't make this up, folks. Liberals will remove fraudulent memberships as some register their pets to vote because it's so darn easy to get your name in there. How are they going to figure all this out? Well, they've got to sift through every single... I doubt they're going to do that, to be honest. And what about all those people that aren't eligible to vote in Canada? Well, I guess they're eligible. I guess the new rules, they won't be eligible. But foreign students, for example, which flooded the polls in certain ridings during before the last election to get in new members of the Liberal Party. Federal spokesman says that the party can now and will remove fraudulent profiles from its list of electors eligible to vote in their next leader. Parks Lund commented, a comment came after multiple people posted online about their creating fake profiles using fake names or their pet names, or enlisting addresses to that of the Prime Minister or the Chinese embassy. As it goes, that's we've seen evidence of that already. The Liberals changed the rules years ago to make it easier for people to register as party members and vote in leadership elections, including eliminating all fees. Wow, making it totally free. Now, a note here is that if you want to join the Conservatives, you have to pay a nominal fee. It's not an exorbitant fee or anything like that, but it is a fee, and it stops people from creating fraudulent profiles, multiple fraudulent profiles, which you would see in a case like this. It's kind of like X. If you want to have a verified account, you got to pay $8. I mean, it's one of those things. It's not a lot of money, but it does stop the bots, and that's very helpful. Some MPs say the party should tighten its rules on who can register as a member after public outcry, of course, not before. After the foreign interference inquiry heard about foreigners voting in our local nominee races, which is largely what that story is all about. Lund said officials would remove fake registrations from the party's rolls before the leadership vote takes place. Let's hope that they actually follow through with that. The Liberal Party of Canada is aware of the ridiculous fraudulent registration attempts, Lund wrote on X. They are now years later, apparently. The National Party secretary has the ability to remove restraints from our lists, registrants from our list, and we'll be removing these fraudulent profiles well in advance of any leadership vote. Wow, so late, so very late. But this is where we're at with the Liberal Party. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. This is how foreign interference has been occurring in our country. It's been happening at the party level. It's not so much the general elections. I mean, there may be some in the general elections, and there may be stuff like funding that's going on, which is obviously also involved in this. But the big concern of the push to bring in this candidate or that candidate was largely surrounding people ineligible to vote in federal elections, actually bringing in the leadership in these parties, not just the leadership, but the actual MPs, voting them into their ridings. Now, I've been telling people to get involved in their party politics to help thwart this, but well, we'll see how it all goes down. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments down below. So leave a comment in the comment section down below and let me know what you think. We'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.